Good morning. Thank you all for joining. We'll get started in just a moment as folks clear the waiting room. As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please do remain on mute unless or until you are providing testimony before the board. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Today's hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman of the Board, Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm Chair of the Boston Licensing Board, and today I'm also joined by Commissioner Kiana Saxon and Commissioner Liam Curran.
Thank you. Please ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly if you will be providing testimony before the board. I will call each item in the order that it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify. I will then swear in all parties. After that, the police report will be read into the record, and the licensee or the representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the chair and commissioners. All testimony will be limited only to those individuals with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. Beginning with the first item on this morning's agenda, calling item number 1, LCY Inc., doing business as Jade Garden Restaurant located at 18 to 20 Tyler Street. Date of the incident, October 21st, 2024. Assault and battery, employee on patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. And assault and battery, patron on employee in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
My name is Peter. Last name is Cao, C-A-O.
So Peter Cow?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you very much. And who is with you?
Oh, they go back.
Hi, Jincy, Jingze. The last name W-E-N.
Sorry, what was the last name?
W-E-N.
W-E-N?
Yep.
Okay, Jingy Wen?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective Walsh.
Thank you, Detective Walsh. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you all please raise your right hand? Thank you, Mr. Wen. If I could see your right hand as well. Great. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Detective Walsh. If you could please read the police report into the record for the board.
About 2:36 a.m. on Monday, 10/20/24, officers Ramirez and Desmar responded to a radio call for an assault and battery in progress outside 18 Tyler Street by Jade Garden Restaurant. Upon arrival, officers made contact with victims Nisha Wallace and Kiara King. The victims Wallace and King stated that while dining in at Jade Garden, they had who they described as an unknown white male sit with them to eat. Victims stated that they did not know the white male, but that he had identified himself as, quote, Jamie. Victims stated that they had only allowed Jamie to sit with them after he agreed to pay the entirety of the tab. Victims stated that the restaurant staff had claimed to know Jamie. Victims stated that once Jamie finished eating, he began to act as if he was not going to pay the tab. Sorry. Victims stated that they were held by staff inside the restaurant despite their attempt to leave while staff was inside the restaurant demanded for the tab to be paid. Jamie was not on scene until upon a police arrival. Victims stated that a group of restaurant staff jumped and beat them, even chasing them out of the restaurant. and down the street in order to continuously assault them. Victims alleged to have been strangled by restaurant staff. King appeared to have severe bruising to her left forearm, purple in color, along with what appeared to be freshly bloody scrape on her lower left hip. Both victims appeared to be under significant distress. King stated that while being beaten by staff outside the restaurant, she attempted to utilize her Saber red pepper spray. However, stated that the pepper spray failed to deploy or spray. Officers made contact with the restaurant staff suspects who stated that Wallace and King had attempted to leave the restaurant without paying. Staff stated that Wallace had initially assaulted Zane Way at the door while attempting to exit the restaurant. The ambulance 815 responded on scene to evaluate the victims. Victims were provided with a report number and notified that detectives would contact them. About on 10/26/2024, about 1 a.m., Detective Walsh issued a licensed premise violation in relation to an assault and battery incident that occurred on 10/21/24, about 2:30 a.m. Employee Jing Zhen did cooperate and sign for the inspection. Video evidence was gathered. And that is all I have at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cow. Mr. Wen, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Oh, hi, how are you? So the situation that the customer refused to pay for the bill, and then our staff just tried to not tell her to pay for the bill, and because they were sitting together as a party, and the two ladies said that the guy's supposed to pay for the bill, but the guy said no, I'm not going to pay for their bill, and then our staff tried to tell them, hey, you have to pay for the bill, we can't leave. And I believe that we have video so that our staff did not assault the two victims.
Thank you. Is there anything further you would like to add before we move to questions from the board?
Yeah, we provided after this incident that we provide further training to the staff. If this situation happens again, we will not. We will just let the customer go if they refuse to pay the bill, and we will not try to stop them not paying the bill. You know, and then it's just something that we have to improve on, and we will do further training on the situation if it happens again.
Thank you. With that, we will see if there are any questions from the board at this time. Chairman Joyce, any questions?
Detective Walsh, do you have video from that night?
I do, yes.
Could you forward that to the board for us to review?
Yes, I believe the board should have it.
Is that what was dropped off to Danny's desk?
There's a 30-second undated TikTok video is what we have. Is that the video you're referring to, Detective Walsh?
Oh, okay, no, I did load it onto a USB and it was supposed to be delivered, but I will follow up and make sure another copy does delivered.
Okay, we might have it. Have you reviewed it, Detective Walsh?
I have, yes.
Is there was there any signs of an assault by employees on patrons?
No, it wasn't an assault, but there was definitely some holding of the door. And when the parties involved that were trying to exit the restaurant became full, the staff did attempt to hold the door shut, but then eventually the parties were able to exit. So there wasn't any punch. It was more just trying to secure the door.
Thank you. My next question is for Jade Garden. Did you know who this man was that sat down on the table with these two patrons?
No, we don't.
Okay. Did you see it happen?
Yep.
How many people were in there at this time of night?
Let me ask the staff that worked that day. 大約幾多客仔啊？
2 tables.
唔係
Oh, two tables.
唔係 the full West 成個餐館啊，嗰日忙嘅夜晚嗰晚。Okay. Yep. Not that busy. Only a couple of tables that night.
And so did you see this gentleman sit down with this party and order food and eat with them and then leave?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And at no time So tell me what happened. Like, did the bill come and the man had already left, or what happened?
Yes, when the bill comes, that basically the two lady party said that oh, I'm not paying the bill because that man said they're gonna pay for their dinner. And but as a man to pay, the man said no, I'm not paying for the dinner because I think that the two ladies order lobster, order shrimp, and order other dishes too. I guess when the guy saw the bill, he said that oh, I only order crab for myself. I did not order lobster, did not order shrimp for that night for himself.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Saxon or Commissioner Curran, do you have any questions?
No, I'll just wait on the video. Thank you.
No questions for now. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you all. Calling item number 2, Park 54 Restaurant Group LLC, doing business as Park 54 Restaurant and Lounge, located at 81 Fairmount Ave in Hyde Park. Date of the incident, June 28th, 2024, serving an intoxicated person in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 69. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Tasha Hall, I'm the owner.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Detective Eric Kraus from Area E18.
Great. Thank you very much, Sergeant Detective. Is it possible to turn your camera on so that we can swear you in?
I apologize. This is a long time since I've been on a hearing, and I don't have a camera on this computer. I would log off and try to get my cell phone up, but
thank you. Chairman Joyce, will you accept if the Sergeant Detective can affirm to us that he's raising his right hand when asked to do so?
Sure, yeah.
Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Great. Can you all please raise your right hand? And Sergeant Detective Kraus, if you could please affirm to the board you were doing so.
I am.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Sergeant Detective, if you could please read the police report into the record for the board.
Yes, sir. So at about 1:13 a.m. on Friday, June 28th, Officer Clementon Brown responded to the radio call for a problem in the area 5 Fairmont Ave in Hyde Park. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the caller who wished to remain anonymous. The caller stated that she observed the victim, later identified as Brandy Wilkinson, walking towards the Rockland Trust Bank from the direction of Davison Street with her pants down. The caller stated that the victim was alone and was intoxicated. The caller stated that she later observed the victim sitting next to a blue Kia Optima with her pants down. And the caller stated that she approached the victim and offered her help. Officer observed the victim to be intoxicated and she possibly urinated on herself. Officers asked the victim if she fell or hit her head, to which she said no. The victim reiterated that she came from the Park 54 and that someone would have helped her if she needed help. Officers advised Boston EMS, to which she declined. Officers did not observe any visible injuries to the victim's body. It should be noted that while officers were on scene, the victim's husband, later identified as Armando Robles, called her phone multiple times. Officers did answer the phone and asked Mr. Robles if he could come pick her up. Mr. Robles arrived in a black Honda and picked up the victim. The victim's blue Kia was left in the Rockland Trust parking lot for the night. That is all.
Thank you, Sergeant Detective. We have a supplemental report as well. I don't know if you're planning on reading that in.
Sure. On June 30th, 2024, about 8 p.m., myself, Sergeant Detective Kraus, and Detective John Harrington arrived at the Park 54 at 81 Fairmont Ave in Hyde Park to issue a license premise violation. The owner, Tasha Hall, was present. Ms. Hall stated the intoxicated woman was never allowed into the business. Ms. Hall attempted to show us the security video, but was unable to locate the footage of the intoxicated person at this time. Sergeant Detective Kraus suggested that she preserve the video from 1 hour back of the time of the incident. Ms. Hall refused to accept the violation and stated that we were racist. The violation notice for serving an intoxicated person was left with the bartender.
Thank you very much. Ms. Hall, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes. So this woman that So first of all, on the 29th, a detective came by. I don't remember his name. So the day following the incident on the 29th, and asked us for video footage of a Caucasian woman that came into the restaurant. We reviewed video footage looking for a Caucasian woman with the detective who came in on the 29th, and there was no woman with that description that had tried to enter the restaurant. The following day, on the 30th, this is when the other two detectives came in and asked to review the footage. I explained to them that the day before, another detective came by and asked for a Caucasian woman. At this point, they said it was a light-skinned woman and she was wearing a different color shirt than what the first detective came by the day before said she was wearing a white shirt. And so when they came in, I'm like, you know, I sat with them. It was actually my birthday, and we were going through, I was having a party. So I stopped the party. I went in, I sat with them, and I showed them the footage. When they kept asking me to go back an hour before, and I'm like, I did this yesterday with the other officer. At this point, you guys don't even know the proper description of the person that we're looking for. Park 54 is very busy, and there were a lot of people. There was on the night of the Thursday night, which would have technically been the 27th, not the 28th at 1 o'clock in the morning. But on that night where three women tried to get into the restaurant, but it was after 12:30 and security told them that they could not come in. It wasn't because they were intoxicated, but because we had already closed the doors for the night. And those women went back towards that area. So I'm not sure if the people in question are those same people, because the description from both detectives on two separate days were completely inaccurate. So, I mean, till this day, I still don't know what I'm looking for in the camera, because both detectives that came in separate days gave us different descriptions of what they were looking for.
Great. Anything else you'd like to add before we move to questions from the board?
No.
Great. In that case, we'll see if there are any questions, starting with Chairwoman Joyce.
I do have some questions. Sergeant Detective, would you characterize the staff, including Ms. Hall, cooperative?
Upon the date that I responded there to issue the violation, I'd say she started off being cooperative, and then she clearly was aggravated. There was a birthday party going on. It was very loud upstairs. It was very difficult to try to accomplish this task during these conditions. The room where the video is right next to where this party was going on. This wasn't the appropriate time. I wasn't looking for her to seek out the individual. I was looking to obtain video at least 1 hour prior to the incident to review it under our terms. And this was just extremely difficult to try to accomplish. She was having difficulty trying to extract video. I offered to try to do that. She didn't want me to do that. This just became just too difficult, and she was becoming, angry and difficult to try to accomplish this. So we issued the violation and left.
Ms. Hall, how long does your video recordings last?
We can go back 6 months, and they record 24 hours.
Okay. Could you have gone back the next day after the birthday party and found 1 hour prior to this incident for the detectives?
Yes, but that's not at the time they were viewing the footage. My video cameras at that time shows that they were there for a while. Like I said, it was my own birthday party, so I stopped to go and do this with them. I think the aggravation came with, the other detective that came in the day before gave us a completely separate description, which we did actually give that detective a copy of the video that he requested the day before. I don't remember that detective's name, but there was a detective that showed up the day before, and he did not give us a violation on that day. And usually, I mean, we've gotten some of these before where, they've been dismissed because for no violation, but I just felt like, why didn't the detective on that Saturday that came in the 29th give us a violation on that day? And here these two other detectives are looking for someone that's completely different than what the first detective asked for. We already gave him video footage, and now they're asking us to look for someone completely different. And so I did show Detective Cross and the other detective what I could see, and the other detective that was with him, I'm not sure if you remember Detective Cross, but even he said, no, she was wearing a different color shirt or whatever it was that you guys were looking for. And at that point, that's when I kept getting frustrated because, you know, I'm okay if someone came from here and we have a violation and we did something incorrect, but at that point it just seemed like I was being harassed because and they were saying, and not only that, this is at 5 Fairmont Ave. Most people who come to Park 54 park over the bridge or in front of Park 54. 5 Fairmont Ave, there are other restaurants right
Okay,
across.
I'm just gonna get back to what we're talking about. It's in my professional opinion, it's the nature of an investigation that it might take time to get to the bottom of what they need. Blue shirt, white shirt, light skinned woman, white woman. That's what the nature of an investigation is. And at all times, we expect the licensee to cooperate with the police. To me, that is cooperation is the number one thing I look for when we review incident reports. Violations are not what you receive from the police officers. Violations are what you receive from this board. What they give you is an incident report. They write up what happened when they walked in there that day. Whether or not you got one the night before or this night, it doesn't matter. I'm always looking for cooperation. Ms. Hall, on April 30th, 2024, which would have been before this actually happened, did you receive the advisory from this board about cooperating with police?
Excuse me, what's the question?
Do you receive our advisories from the Boston
I
Licensing
do,
Board?
and I did, and he just said that I did cooperate in the beginning when he first came in. And
Okay, I just want to know if you received our advisories. I want to make
Yes.
sure the right person is getting them, that you're training your staff and that you understand your responsibilities, because this is a
Yes,
very
I do.
important thing in the eyes of the board. Whether it's
Yes.
2 nights in a row, the nature of an investigation is to get to the bottom of it. So there might be multiple times that the police need your cooperation. It's actually a very important rule of the board. It's rule 1.10A. All licensees are subject to inspection by the Boston Police Department. So I expect you to cooperate at all times when the Boston Police come in.
And I'm always cooperative.
Okay, this seems like the nature of the narrative on this supplemental report indicates otherwise, so.
So where's the officer who I gave the footage to the day before then? Because that's
I don't do the
anywhere.
investigation, I just regulate the licensees, and I
Okay.
want to make sure that you receive our advisories and that you're
Yep.
always cooperating with the Boston Police. And if there's any questions about whether the advisory is reaching you or your staff, please call our office and we'll make sure the right person gets them. I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Saxon or Commissioner Curran?
Did you keep the video?
I gave the video to the officer that came in on the 29th. I did not give a video to this officer that's on this call because he did not ask me for a video at that time.
Did you keep the video? Do you have it still?
No, we gave it on a thumb drive to the guy who came in on the 29th. It was downloaded to that drive and it was given to him.
It says here that they told you to preserve the video from 1 hour back.
That is not what he told me.
So it was clear to you on June 30th that detective had not received what he was looking for, right?
Because he came in looking for someone else. I don't understand how you guys are not understanding that he came in looking for a completely different person.
It doesn't matter about who he was looking for.
Okay.
Did you?
No, I did not preserve it. You
Okay.
asked a question and I said no, I did not preserve it. No.
No, you said you hadn't because he hadn't asked you. I'm asking you. Wasn't
No,
it
I
clear?
did not. I
that
did
you
not
still
preserve
wanted-
it because he did not ask me to preserve it. He asked me to go back 1 hour so he can view additional footage of an hour while we were standing there after he had already reviewed the footage. That's what he asked me. Can I go back an hour while he was standing there? He did not ask me to preserve it, did not ask me to put it on a thumb drive. He did not ask me to save it. He asked me to go back 1 hour. That is what he asked me to do.
On that evening, wasn't it clear that you had not provided video that was still being sought?
No, it was not clear. No, it was not clear.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Thank you very much. The board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you. Calling item number 3, the Boston Liquor Corp., located at 71 to 79 Warrenton Street. Date of the incident, October 20th, 2024. Theft of property, larceny in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 60. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Terrence Gathers.
Charles Delpidio.
Thank you. Who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Officer Lawrence Lee.
Thank you, Officer.
Lieutenant Detective Troy, if necessary.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Now, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Oh, sorry, there's
I do.
another individual here, Mr. Barbosa. If you could please identify yourself for the board.
Yes, sir. My name is Stephen Barbosa, and I work for Candy Bar Manager for Candy Bar Club.
Great. Thank you very much. Officer Lee, if you could please read the report into the record for the board.
Sure. About 1:26 a.m. on Sunday, October 20th, 2024, Officer Lee in the Alpha 499 Alpha responded to a radio call for a larceny at Legacy Boston, located at 79 Warrington Street, Boston. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with club manager Terrence Gathers, who stated that there were 4 people who had their phones stolen from the dance floor of the club. Only 3 people wanted to file a police report. Gathers also stated that this happened between 12:40 a.m. to about 1:10 a.m. Gathers spoke with other staff, and no one had turned in any phones. Gathers spoke with victim number 1, Rafael Ferreira Dantas, who stated that he had his purple iPhone 14 Pro Max in his right back pocket while he was on the dance floor. About 1 a.m., he looked around the floor and found the wallet of victim number 2, Marino Nelson Edgardo. Nelson Edgardo stated he had his phone in his fanny pack and was also on the dance floor. Next thing he checked, his fanny pack was open and his gray iPhone Pro Max and his wallet was gone. Nelson Edgardo was wallet was recovered later with nothing missing. Victim number 3, Robert Cardoso, stated that he had his white silver iPhone 15 Pro Max in his fanny pack on his front left side. He checked his fanny pack and found it open with his iPhone gone. The officers gave the victim the incident number and instructions how to retrieve the report.
2 phones.
Thank you very much, Officer Lee. Mr. Delpidio, Mr. Gathers, Mr. Barbosa, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Go ahead.
Well, we at that time the night wasn't even over completely, and we had usually you always get somebody who's missing something. That's normal for us. But when you get that many people saying, I can't find my phone is missing, it starts looking a little bit strange. So as we started talking to people and I'm asking around, I'm talking to my staff, going through the regular missing phone procedures, we start realizing that this it's too much to be a coincidence. So any crime on the premise, we call the police. And after speaking to them, after the police came in, we told everybody to hold back and made sure they all gave the police their IDs and gave their reports and everything. But it's pretty much everything they said on the report. And we have we try to convince everybody that we make announcements every night, phone, keys, wallet, make sure you keep them with yourselves and everything else. However, that was a little bit more, it made me feel like it was more of a thing. And after speaking to the detective, Brian Hurl, when he called me, I guess this is something that's been going around into a lot of different places. So I wanted to make sure if we could catch the person or whatever it is, because we have signs up and everything else, asking people to make sure they keep an eye on their materials.
They have a problem.
Any questions from anybody?
We will see if there are. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions for the licensee or the officer?
Thank you very much. I have no questions at this time.
Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Saxon.
I'm sorry. Do we suspect that this one is related to the next one at all?
No,
Not at all.
not at all.
Okay. Did you do any video review about what was going on this night in this location?
Yes, I did. I asked Detective Eddie Hernandez to drop it off to you today, all the video of everybody coming in and out, because when I spoke to Brian Hurl about it, me and him were playing phone tag for a while. So I had the video for the whole night on a thumb drive. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ask him to drop it off to the board because I had a pretty good idea that you guys were going to ask for video. Unfortunately, during our investigation with the phones, we found out that most of the people were saying when they tracked their phones, it ended up in China. That's what it was showing up on the tracking. So I believe there's what in New Jersey we used to call pockets. People that go around from different places to places and they literally try to pickpocket people. And that's something we want to avoid, and I don't want it in the club. So best bet was to call the police.
Okay, thank you for providing that.
You're welcome.
Nothing further. Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Gathers. So I did receive that thumb drive on my desk this morning. I'm going to download the videos and share them with the commissioners. Is that from this incident or the next one? The videos.
That's what to this one. Now.
Thank you.
Wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. That videos will be shared with commissioners following this hearing, and the board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you.
Calling item number 4, same licensee, Boston Liquor Corp., located at 71 to 79 Warrington Street. Date of this incident, October 26th, 2024. Theft of property, larceny, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Terrence Gathers.
Charles Delpidio.
Thank you. Who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Robert Nunes, Nunes, police officer.
Thank you, Officer Nunes. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Lieutenant Detective Troy, if necessary.
Thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth? Oh, and Mr. Barbosa as well. Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Officer Nunes. You may please proceed with the report for the board.
Yes, sir. About 12:20 a.m. on Saturday, November 9th, 2024, Officer Nunes assigned to the Alpha 435 responded to a radio call for a larceny report at 279 Tremont Street, Candy Bar. Upon arrival, Officer Nunes met with the caller, Stephen Barbosa, who stated that an employee stole a black fanny pack on October 26, 2024, around 2:32 a.m. Barbosa stated that the owner of the bag contacted the establishment, inquiring if someone found their black fanny pack. After reviewing video footage, Barbosa observed Brown grabbed the black fanny pack, then placed the item into the elevator room. After returning to the elevator room, Brown retrieves the fanny pack. Barbosa informs the officer when a staff member finds property, the proper protocol is to notify a supervisor, along with immediately turning the item in. Barbosa stated that Brown failed to do either. Barbosa mentioned to Officer Nunes that Brown stated he placed the fanny pack on the coat room counter. Officer Nunes attempted to contact the victim to no avail. At this time, the items located inside the black fanny pack are listed in the property section of this report. Barbosa stated that Brown is currently suspended, pending investigation. It should be noted that the incident took place inside Legacy. Barbosa informed Officer Nunes that Candy Bar and Legacy are connected, and sometimes security staff members help the other establishment. While writing this report, Barbosa informed Officer Nunes that they located the black fanny pack. However, the bag was empty.
Okay, so.
Thank you. Sorry, just one moment. Mr. Troy, there's a very lengthy supplemental report.
Yeah, I just try to summarize that for you, if I could. There's 2 additional reports. The first additional report just notes the license premise violation. It reads as follows: at 11:24, November 24, 2024, at 1:30 a.m., Detectives Horn and Samaras, under the direction of Sergeant Detective Taxter, responded to 79 Warrington Street, the Legacy, Boston, for a Code 35 license premise inspection. Detectives issued the establishment a violation for theft of property, larceny, for the incident that took place on November 26, 2024. Terrence Mathis accepted violation number 39314 and was cooperative. There's an additional report, it's an investigative report by Detective Keneally, and it reads as follows: after a thorough investigation, Detective Kennedy found probable cause to charge the suspect, Sammy Brown, with larceny over 1,200 in violation of Mass General Laws 266-30. Detective spoke to the victim, who stated that she had left the candy bar at 279 Tremont and walked to his car. At that point, the victim realized he didn't have his car keys in his bag, and they were with him. The victim went back to the club to look for his bag, but was stopped by security from going in. Security advised the victim to leave his phone number so they could contact him if found. The victim told the detective that he remembers leaving his bag on the couch next to the coat check. The victim informed the detective that there was $2,370 in US currency, his passport, iPhone 16, inside the bag, with total value of $4,849. Detective spoke to the manager, Barbosa, who reported that one of the employees, Sammy, stole the items, victim's fanny pack. Barbosa stated that the owner, the victim of the bag, contacted the establishment inquiring if somebody had found the black fanny pack. After viewing video footage, Mr. Barbosa observed the suspect grab the fanny pack and then place the item into the elevator room. After returning to the elevator room, the suspect retrieves the fanny pack. Barbosa informed the detective when a staff member finds property, the proper protocol is to notify the supervisor along with immediately turning the item in. Barbosa stated that the suspect failed to do either. Mr. Barbosa mentioned to the detective that the suspect stated that he placed the fanny pack on the coat room counter. Mr. Barbosa informed the detective that the suspect is suspended pending charges. And Mr. Barbosa, or I'm sorry, that the suspect is currently before the court. And that's the extent of that report.
Thank you, Lieutenant Troy. Mr. Gathers, Mr. Delpidio, Mr. Barbosa, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Okay, so I agree with everything that was said on that report. We did have that gentleman who went to the coat check and got his coat, and we have like a small seating section that's a couple of feet away from that section. This was in Legacy nightclub. He was a guest at Legacy. So he sat down and put his fanny pack down, and then he walked out the door. This was at closing. By the time he got to the car, that's when he realized, I don't have my keys, because he left his bag. So he turned back around, came back. They wasn't going to let him in. However, we did let him in. After management, I got involved and we let him in. And then they kind of like looked around and it wasn't there. So he said he was adamant about the fact that it was there. He was speaking to another manager that works here, Linda. And at that point, she started an investigation, started reviewing the footage. Once we realized what was going on from our investigation, Stephen was made aware of it, and there's nothing left to be done except call the police because it was obvious to me. So, and to her. So he was terminated immediately. He was not suspended. But Stephen, he told the police that because that's what he thought was going to happen. But we viewed the video, so he was terminated immediately.
Thank you. Anything further before we move to questions? Okay, we'll see if there are any. Chairwoman Joyce, any questions?
So just, there's a lot in the police report that's helpful, but this elevator room, who has access to that? Is it all staff or?
No, this was, now keep in mind, this is after hours. So,
This is a hotel.
so the way the elevator room is so to make it easier for them to remove rubbish and everything else, you bring the wheelbarrows out and everything like that. So that elevator room was open. When it said that he entered the elevator room, that those doors are locked. So like the general public can't go in there. During it's not an emergency exit or nothing like that. But we were closed. So he was in a section because he was working for Candy Bar. So he was in a section of the club that he shouldn't have been in, wasn't assigned to be in, and it was after hours. So there was a lot wrong with what was going on.
Okay. And I'm sorry, you may have mentioned this. How long did this person work for you?
Couple of years.
Yeah, couple of years.
Okay. And had you have any other discipline actions disciplinary actions for
No.
him?
No.
All right, thanks. Commissioner Curran and Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
I do not, thank you.
Thank you,
No
guys.
questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. I think we all went on mute, sir. Oh, there
I
you are.
am. Thank you very much for catching that. The board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you all. Calling
Thank
item,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling item number 5, K&K Restaurant Group, Inc., doing business as Estella, located at 49 Temple Place. Date of the incident, January 10th, 2025. Disorderly conduct in front of premise in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and failure to cooperate with police in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.10A and B. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Green, Kristen Scanlon, stepping in for Attorney Adam Barnoski for the licensee. And, Helder Brandeo, also known as George, is on with us as well.
Thank you. I do not see Mr. Brandeo on my screen. If you're with us and plan to testify, if you could please have your camera on, Mr. Brandeo, so that we can swear you in.
Oh,
There we
good
go.
morning. I apologize.
See you. Thank you very much. And we do see you and hear you on our screen. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Police Officer Richard Friedman.
Thank you. Are there any other? Oh, sorry. I think I'm just going to ask you to unmute so you can identify yourself with the board. Hang on one second. We can't hear you.
My apologies. Sergeant Detective Luke Taxter.
Thank you, Sergeant Detective Taxter. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify? Do y'all please raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Who will be reading the police report into the record for the board? Will that be Officer Friedman or Sergeant Detective Taxter?
Sir, whatever you want me to do.
You can read your report.
Okay. I'll begin. Yep. On Friday, January 10th, 2025, around 2:15 a.m., I was assigned as the 435 Alpha. I received a radio call for assault and battery at 49 Temple Place in Boston, Mass. The above location is a restaurant called Estrella. Upon my arrival, I observed a group of individuals being allowed at the location. I spoke to Michael Nolan, who appeared to be intoxicated, stating that he was assaulted by staff at the restaurant. Mr. Nolan stated he was pushed. At one point, Mr. Nolan gave me the middle finger. I then spoke to staff inside the restaurant and was informed that Mr. Nolan and his friends were attempting to fight another party in the restaurant and were told to leave. The staff told Mr. Nolan and his friends outside the location, were outside the location for over an hour, causing a disturbance, waiting to fight the unknown party inside. Mr. Nolan and his friends were told to leave and not to return to the restaurant, and they were not allowed back inside. I stayed on scene and I observed the group leave the location.
Thank you. We have a supplemental from Sergeant Detective Taxter.
Yes, on January 12th, 2025 at about 1 a.m., myself, Sergeant Detective Luke Taxter with Detective Samaras, went to Estella at 49 Temple Place to conduct a licensed premise inspection and issue a violation concerning this incident. While Detective Samaras inspected the posted permits, I engaged the owner, Helder George Brandeo, in conversation and casually asked what the count was. Brandeo pointed to the downstairs area of the club and said, "Do you see anyone down there?" Brandeo said the club was well below capacity and there was no need to keep a count. Sensing that Brandeo had taken a defensive demeanor, I attempted to de-escalate the situation, de-escalate the conversation without success. Brandeo became increasingly argumentative and accused us of harassment. When I explained that the police had been called to the location the previous night, Brandeo replied that the detectives should, quote, conduct some research, end quote, before issuing a violation. Brandeo remained evasive, answering each of my questions with another question. Seeking to end the encounter, I explained that Brandeo could dispute the disorderly person claim at a hearing and asked him to sign for the violation several times. Mr. Brandeo started to record us with his cell phone and refused to sign. I left the premise and noted Brandeo's failure to cooperate on the violation.
Thank you very much. Attorney Scanlon, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, please. Thank you. A few questions first for Officer Freeman.
Yes, ma'am.
Officer Freeman, in your report, you indicate that when you arrived at the scene, a group of individuals were being allowed outside the location, correct?
Correct.
And that group was approximately 3 individuals, to your recollection?
If I remember correctly, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Nolan, who's identified in your police report, was also identified by staff as their problematic patron earlier that evening, correct?
Correct.
And as a matter of fact, Mr. Nolan was uncooperative and disrespectful to you as well in the early morning hours of that evening, correct?
Correct.
You confirmed that night with staff that Mr. Nolan was asked to leave the premises earlier that evening?
That's correct.
And also confirmed that Mr. Nolan was banned from their premises, correct?
Yeah, we told him he was trespassed. That's correct.
At all times that evening, were staff cooperative with you?
Yeah, from speaking with them, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. If I may as well, just a few questions for Sergeant Detective Taxter.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
On Sunday, it looks like early Sunday morning, you entered of January 12th, you entered the premises to conduct a licensed premises inspection and issue a violation concerning the event that happened early Friday morning, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you entered the premises without issue to conduct that inspection, correct?
Yes.
You were not refused admission or locked out by anyone at the premises?
No, we were not.
And no information that you asked for regarding the disorderly incident, staff didn't provide you, correct? There's nothing that you asked for that they didn't provide you, I should say, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. No further questions at this time. Madam Chair, members of the board, if I may, this particular incident regarding the disorderly patrons outside the premises happened on early on a Friday morning, technically, so it would have been a Thursday night out. Mr. Nolan and his friends, who were not otherwise known to staff at the premises, there's no issues with them previously, around 12:30 in the morning, according to staff, started being obnoxious and were having a verbal disagreement with other patrons inside the premises, and they were immediately asked to leave. They did leave, and for the most part, staff agrees with or Officer Freeman's police report, except for the fact that, according to staff, Mr. Nolan left the area for a little bit and then came back, and that's when staff told them they would call police if he didn't leave. This is when Mr. Nolan stated to staff he had called himself already, and police arrived shortly thereafter. Staff, as you heard in the police report and confirmed by Officer Freeman, did ban Mr. Nolan and 2 other individuals from the premises. With respect to this incident and follow up with staff after, despite the fact that the patron left and came back, and they were informed that the patron had called police themselves, they have reiterated to staff to not hesitate to call police if people are refusing to leave the area of the premises, even after they've exited the inside of the premises. With respect to the failure to cooperate with police that occurred allegedly a few nights afterwards, unfortunately, I think this entire interaction started off on the wrong footing. Mr. Brandeo, he certainly can speak for himself, but according to him, when police came in, they said they were there about an incident that occurred on Friday night, and this caught Mr. Brandeo off guard because nothing had occurred Friday night, which he had confirmed. And then, according to Mr. Brandeo, police inferred that he didn't know what was happening on the premises that he runs. He was confused by this because the event in question, again, happened on what would have been a Thursday night or early Friday morning, and said he was asking questions about what event they were referencing, and the dots weren't connecting, unfortunately, to the early Friday morning incident because they had been referencing the night before. So All in all, the licensee does apologize for the miscommunication and that it went this way. But as you heard from police on the night in question, at all times, staff were cooperative regarding the incident that early Friday morning. And as you heard from Mr. Taxer as well, there isn't any information that they were asked of that they didn't provide regarding that disorderly. That being said, certainly happy to answer any questions the board might have.
Thank you. We'll see if there are any. Chairman Joyce.
Thank you, Attorney. Either Attorney Scanlon or Mr. Brandeo, why didn't you give the police a count when they asked what the capacity was?
So
Like
he
a very simple, straightforward question, pretty clear.
it's not about the count. So I was on the other side. He came in all abruptly, and if he also had a partner, the partner was writing the ticket. If I wasn't cooperative, I wouldn't have gone to the partner and say, "Hey, can I remove the thing down for you?" And that's when he came in, and then I was looking at numbers and trying to do something, and he comes in. And he just asked, what is your capacity? And then I mentioned to him, it's 254. He says, what is your count? And I said, hey, we're way below capacity. If you look downstairs, it's holds 100. We have no 100. I can get you. And then he gave me an attitude. And then like, hey, that's not what I asked you. I'm saying I can get you a count. One of the securities have a count. They have a count, a tapper on their phone. But we're way below. We had like 48 people in there. So we're way below our capacity. I think you're just kind of picking on me. You're not really answering any information. I'm asking why you're here. You're not really giving me a again, I'm new to this. So if I get stopped, I want to know, hey, why am I being stopped? So if someone comes to your restaurant and writes you a ticket, it's only right that, hey, here are the issues that is being presented to you. Here's what you all failed to do, or here's why you're being ticketed. And I just understood from the attorney now.
Sure. How new were you at this restaurant, Mr. Brandeo?
2 years.
How many?
2 years.
Okay, do you remember when I personally came down to your restaurant and sat with you and your staff and my staff, and we tried to have a meeting and talk about what our expectations were of you? I don't do that for everyone, but I did that for you to go over our rules.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, November 13th, 2023, do you remember attending an in-person meeting at MCLE Conference Center with Boston Police and the Licensing Board?
Probably, yeah.
Yes, because we have you were sitting right in front and center, and we have you as signed in. And at
Yeah,
that,
I'm always going to go to those events.
yes, and at that meeting, we discussed, amongst other things, cooperation with the police. And pretty
So my
clear.
understanding, I cooperated with the police. I have every right to ask the police questions, and the police should be answering your questions, and
Okay.
not because they have an
And
authority.
then on
over you.
April 25th, 2024,
So I
you
can't really
received a
answer that.
violation for not cooperating with the police for an incident that happened a couple months before that. So you received a first warning.
I thought that I
25th,
shouldn't have received
2024
that
for
warning, but I
violation that
wasn't
happened.
represented correctly. That's why I got an attorney this time. I thought that was a bit unfair of actually getting the not.
And then on April 30th, 2024, this board sent out a written advisory that I'm assuming you received about cooperating with the police.
Again, I don't think I miscooperated with any police officer. They asked
Did
for
you
something.
receive that
I
advisory?
answered. I didn't. I probably did or probably did not. But
Okay.
I try to read every advisory you all send.
We're going to be sending another one out about cooperating with the police, so definitely keep your.
I don't have a problem with
in
cooperating
tune
with
that.
police. I think that I'm being targeted, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that police don't even speak to me. I have managers that pay them well. They just speak to the managers.
Great.
So yeah,
And I have
don't
one
even
more thing.
speak
I'm
to
not
me
finished talking.
because
I'm not
I
finished
don't.
talking.
Pardon me?
Then I'm not finished talking. I'm going through a couple of other things. On January 17th, 2025, we had a Zoom meeting, a public safety meeting for everyone in A1. And I believe you attended that too, correct?
I attend every meeting.
And we discussed cooperation with the police there.
Again, I have zero problem cooperating with the police. The police, I've had a history with the police, as you may know. So again, I just ask that the police don't even speak to me because you all got me, not you all, the police got it out to paint me as the bad guy. That's not me. I don't have a bad thing in me. Not disrespectful. I was never disrespectful. He failed to put it on his report that he snatched. He literally snatched, and my wrist turned around, snatched his report, and said, "Oh, you're not going to sign this," and then just walked away. The police are very disrespectful as well. It's we're in this together, so it's mutual respect for both sides. That's all that we ask. You know, we're not kids. Yeah, you have the authority. You're an authority figure. You control my destiny to some point, but again, it should be a level of respect on both sides.
Noted. And then, so when a police officer or any official from the city, whether it be fire, ISD, comes in to do an inspection, our expectations are that you would cooperate with them.
Never had any issues with fire.
I think we've gone over that several times with you at MCLE. You actually received a violation for it from this board in April 2024. We sent you an advisory. We had a Zoom meeting on it.
What's an
Here we are again.
MCLE?
So that was the in-person meeting. And also I took time out of my schedule and sat down with you in person and we talked about cooperation, which is unusual for me to do, but I did that because
that was a little bit more, put it on the record, that was more because I
officials
thought,
from the city.
can I just put this on the record that was more because we were being harassed. We thought that we were being harassed by the police officers.
Right.
There's a strong case there, record is well documented. So
when
that was the reason why you met with me
house.
through Shagun. And he said, "Hey, this is spiking out of control." Shagun Ottawu asked you to meet with me because
Idawu is my boss. So yes,
right.
I'm very well aware.
The reason why I'm trying to put it on record, the reason why is because I had made a case to the city that, hey, we're being mistreated by BPD. We're being harassed by BPD. Here's why. And then also here's a license. This used to be a club before. And where this facility or establishment had certain licenses that now what is the difference? Nothing has changed. Why are we not being able to obtain the same licenses? So, and that's the question that came in. That's why you met with me. You didn't really want to meet with me, but I appreciate the time of you. And that's really out the question. I'm just trying to focus on facts. I don't never miscooperate with the police. And if there is a history there, I asked him, I said, he gave me the wrong information. He came in and I went and they came in, the security let him in. I introduced myself.
I'm not gonna go around in circles. I'm going to cut you off here. We've given you enough time. I want to see if Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon have any questions. Just want to make sure you understand your responsibilities as licensed premise owner who has an alcohol license in the city and their responsibilities to cooperate with the police. That is of utmost importance to me as chair of this board.
I'm okay with cooperating with the police.
I have a question for Officer Friedman.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In your report, it says staff also stated Mr. Nolan and friends were outside the location for over an hour, causing a disturbance and waiting to fight the other unknown party inside. Was there any ambiguity about whether they were there the whole time or whether they had left for a time?
As I recall, I don't know. I can't recall if they said they left for a short time or they were there the whole time. I honestly, I'm going off my report. I didn't review my body cam, but that party outside was difficult to speak with. So I was kind of just like dealing with them and trying to get them to get out of there, safely because they were waiting for an Uber. But I honestly don't recall.
Okay, thank you. So my next question would be for the premises, whoever on that side wants to answer this. Going back to the previous violation that we found for failure to cooperate with police, I'm wondering if you guys have any recollection, knowledge. I'll probably go back and look into it, but if you could state right now, was the refusal to sign the licensed premises inspection an issue with the previous one?
It was not. We never refused. I never refused to sign. I was asking questions. I was confused.
No, I'm asking about the previous violation.
No, it was not. We've always signed. We don't have no issue signing.
That didn't come up. That wasn't an issue.
No, it's never been an issue signing. It's they come in, here's the issue. Okay, we're signing.
I just don't.
I think the first time that they dropped off.
Sir, did you answer my question or not?
No, I'm saying we were dropped off the paperwork and then the staff signed it with no issues. Like the actual
The previous violation. That's what I'm asking about.
yes,
Okay, thank you.
all the violations, yeah. It's 3 of them.
I don't have a question. I think, maybe as a way of giving advice, I know that you had a question about whether it was Thursday night or Friday, or whether they were asking about Friday or Thursday. I think coming with an attitude of offering a tad bit more grace to the police who are questioning you. You can say, no, there was no violation on this day, but there might have been an incident on the day before or the day after. So you're answering their question, but then you're also, in the spirit of being helpful, offering information that might be related or that is near to the time that to the incident that you're being asked about. And I think that's like, in this kind of like theme of like, how to be cooperative and how to get along. It's not just about being so precise and so like so limited in your scope, but just to try to open up and just offer information and to try to offer as much information that might be around, near, approximate. Do you get what I'm trying to get at? I think you're saying that they're asking about a day where there was no incident, but literally the day before there was. So in the spirit of being helpful, you could say there was no incident on this day, but just the day before. That is that what you're talking about?
We said that.
I think that's a way.
We did say that.
You did. So then for the police officer, did you hear that? And what was your response?
No, Ms. Saxon. I don't recall Mr. Brandeo saying that. What I recall was him saying or suggesting that I should do my research before I arrived. Should have done my research before I arrived.
Any other questions from the board on this matter? And Commissioner Curran, I just reviewed the prior incident report. There was no issue with signing for the violation notice. The cooperation was about the interaction during the inspection.
Yep. If they had, my point would have been, just to explain myself, if there had been an issue, we would have talked about it and talked about that. It is fully our expectation that you always sign, regardless of how much you disagree with what has been discussed. You're not agreeing that what is alleged on the notice is true. You're just acknowledging that you've received it.
He didn't allow me to sign it. He snatched it. He asked me, are you refusing to sign? I said, I'm not refusing to sign. I'm asking you questions. And he walked out and said, you're a dick.
Any further questions at this time?
I would just like to refute that last comment wholeheartedly. Thank you.
I think I'm done with this one.
Thank you. With that, the board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you. Calling item number 6, 78 Charles Street Manager LLC, doing business as Milner Hotel, located at 78 Charles Street. Date of the incident, January 31st, 2025. Failure to cooperate with Boston Police by providing video in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 30, and Board's Rule 1.10 A and B, and expired license in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 23, and Section 4. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
My name is Edward Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher.
Detective Gregory Waldrop.
Thank you. Are there other individuals? Oh, sorry.
Hi, good morning, Sergeant Detective Michael DeLuca.
Thank you all very much. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify? Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Who will be reading the police report into the record for the board?
And Sergeant Detective Gallagher will be.
Thank you. You may please proceed.
On 1/31/2025 at about 10:15 p.m., Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the licensed premise unit, responded to the Found Hotel at 78 Charles Street, Boston, to speak with staff about an incident that occurred on 1/24/2025, BPD report number 252-00348. BPD Sexual Assault Unit followed up on the original report, and their investigation led them to the Found Hotel. BPD detectives requested video surveillance from the hotel as well as an employee list. After several attempts to gather this information, the employee list was furnished, but not the video. Sergeant Detective Michael DeLuca of the Sexual Assault Unit contacted Sergeant Detective Gallagher several times, knowing that the Found Hotel has an in-holders license issued by the City of Boston. Sergeant DeLuca relayed to Sergeant Gallagher that he had not been able to secure video after several requests. As a result of this, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice number 020681 to the Found Hotel, failure to cooperate with BPD in providing video. In addition, detectives observed expired in-holders license and expired inspectional services certificate. The person charged, Mr. Abshir Abdem, signed for and accepted the notice. That's what I have.
Thank you, Sergeant Detective Gallagher. Mr. Donovan, would you like to address the alleged incident?
So we don't have the best camera system here, but that's aside from the point. What I did have for video, I gave to this Detective Gregory Waldrop on an SD card on the 29th of January. So that encompasses all of the video that I had that took place in this building. Whether it had things related to the incident on it or not, I can't speak to, because I viewed a lot of the video and I was looking for somebody that I'd never seen before, anything like that. So it was difficult for me to know if I'm looking for the right person or not. Detective Waldrop came to me at a different property and he viewed some of the video as well. And he too had difficulty getting through the video. So he asked me if I could download the video and provide it to the Boston Police Department. In my effort to download the video, it just seemed so tedious because I would have had to let the thing record for X hours. So I felt it would be easier to just give him the SD card from the camera so they had the whole thing and left it at that. And that occurred on the 29th of January.
Thank you. Anything further from you before we move to questions from the board?
I guess, yes. So unfortunately, whoever hung the licenses up foolishly put them in a thing that couldn't be removed. So the old licenses were up front. The newer licenses were in the manager's office further back in there. Although the ISD license currently is expired, where we've had our inspection, we had some things that required some work before the new certificate is issued, but we do have a current in-holders license.
Thank you. We'll see if there are any questions at this point. Chairman Joyce.
Thank you. Sergeant Gallagher, have the police officers received all the information that they need for this?
I'm not sure. I think Sergeant DeLuca would probably be the best one to answer that.
Sergeant DeLuca, have they?
No, we haven't. So just a little background. We obviously were investigating a sexual assault that took place at a different location at the Moxie Hotel. We did have city cameras that tracked the suspect who followed the victim from the Found Hotel to the Moxie. Then we have video surveillance, like city cameras of him going back into the Found Hotel. Detective Waldrop reached out to, I believe his name's Edward, who's works for the Found Hotel. We were trying to get video surveillance inside the lobby of the Found Hotel. That was based on an employee there stating that the suspect had been inside. The video that Detective Waldrop did get, so the suspect was on video coming back, I want to say around like 4 a.m. And I think he leaves earlier in the morning around like 5 or 6 a.m. The video we did receive finally from the Found Hotel after about a week of trying to get it. And again, we're trying to track a sexual assault suspect who sexually assaulted a female. The video we had was missing. I want to say we wanted mostly January 24th between 4 a.m. and like 6 a.m. We had nothing, like we had the video starting January 24th at 8 a.m. and nothing going back to say January 19th. So it was missing. Which I find to be very suspicious that the video we actually needed of this suspect was just not there. It was missing. And this could have been related to Detective Waldrop about a week before. The individual, Edward, kept telling Detective Waldrop he was looking at it, trying to get it and stuff like that. So the answer to your question, that particular video we never got. The employee list we eventually did get, but that first night we went there, the employee who was working there, I think his name was Abshir, was very uncooperative with us, very evasive. He wouldn't give us the phone number to the manager, Peter. We had to look that up separately in Mark 43 reports to get this guy's phone number to call him, who, and Peter, to his credit, he had told us he just came out of the hospital. He did call down there and told Abshir to give us that employee list. But again, time is of the essence in these things, and just to deal with those roadblocks is very unnecessary.
Mr. Donovan, do you still have the video? It would be that you could give to the.
I don't. The SD card that had the video, and the SD card only records for a few days, and once it records, it starts. It records over the oldest data after, I believe, 6 or 7 days. So, and then, like I said, I gave the SD card to the Boston Police. So anything that had the recording of it, I gave them the whole SD card.
Ma'am, can I?
Yep.
I'm Detective Waldrop. I met with Edward. Just through the course of this investigation, like Sergeant Detective DeLuca was stating, we did run into some roadblocks with the employee on the desk, Abshir, the first night. Edward was in communication with me that night, the 24th. He called me to let me know he would review the video. The next day, I reached out to him by text message. He said he had to review it in real time, that there wasn't a fast forward option. Like Sergeant Detective DeLuca said, time was of the essence to try to identify and locate this sexual assault suspect. Finally, a few days later, Edward allowed me to meet up with him, and I reviewed the footage on the iPad. However, like he said, it was too big of a file to download. So he offered to give us the micro SD card, which we have. With that said, though, however, there is footage from January 18th, and then it stops until about 7:50 a.m. on the 24th, which is about 3.5-4 hours after our incident. The camera appears to turn back on and start recording. Also, it should be noted too that we were told that that video is motion censored. However, the footage we have from the 24th all the way up until the next week when we recovered that SD card appeared to have all recorded video on it, in not just motion censored. And also, just to have that video would have made our investigation much smoother. We ended up having to go a different route, actually to a different hotel, in order to obtain some footage to assist us in IDing that suspect.
Thank you. Mr. Donovan, how long had the gentleman at the front desk been working there?
Abshir has been at the property about 2 years.
Okay. Do you train your staff about the rules
Yes.
that come with having an in-holder's license?
Yes.
When was the last time they had been trained prior to this incident?
That's hard for me to speak to because Peter is the manager in this building and I'm the manager at our sister property up the street. So my expectation or understanding would be Peter would have instructed that training to happen. With Peter being out on medical leave, I've been assisting to fill in for Peter. So I wouldn't be able to speak educated to when the last time he had a training related to that.
Okay. I can't emphasize enough, as I have for the last two licensees that were also written up for lack of cooperation, how important it is to cooperate and to train your staff to cooperate, and that when a Boston police officer comes in and asks for information, that you make every effort to cooperate with them in real time. I don't know, I don't understand why the video is motion censored, but then it's not, and why there's missing video. And I'm happy to hear that Detective Waldrop was able to get the information he needed from another source, but it's very concerning that he couldn't get it from you, and that your staff was not cooperative. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have anything to add?
I mean, Mr. Donovan, do you have anything to say about this gap in the video? I mean, I have to agree. I find it very suspicious.
It's a crappy camera. I mean, we didn't have a camera here at all. I brought this camera in from my personal home just to have something in the lobby. So it's a web-based camera and it runs off the internet. So if the internet goes down or something like that, it doesn't record in those time frames. So I can't speak to anything other than the poor quality of the camera.
Okay, so is it recording to an SD card though?
Within the camera, yes, and that's what we gave to the police.
Okay, but it'll stop recording if there's a problem with the internet?
That's correct, yes, because it's a web-based camera. It's a Waze camera.
Uh-huh.
And it's probably a 2-inch square little Waze camera, and it runs on. It's a web-based system. So
yeah, but it's recording locally as well on an SD card, right?
It's sure. Okay.
So why would it stop? Like
I have no explanation as to that. If the implication is I erased it, I firmly disagree with that, because why would I do something like that?
All right, that's all I have, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also wanted to clarify about the gap. So for the detective and also the manager, are you saying that there was footage before the day or day range, the date range in question? Like there's footage, there's no footage, and then there's footage again? Or was there just before the date, there's nothing?
For the date, there is nothing except for the file on the SD card from January 18th. So about a week before this incident, where it has a full day of footage recorded and it's stored there. And that would be the oldest data on the SD card. So in essence, you think that would be written over before the data that was relevant to our investigation. So just for clarification, the gap goes from we have footage on the 18th, and then there's no more footage, and then the camera starts to record footage again about 3 to 4 hours after our incident occurred.
Detective Waldrop?
Yes.
Is the SD card at capacity? Do you know what the capacity is and what the file size is on it?
Sure, I actually have it on my computer here. If you give me one moment, I can actually take a look at the properties of it. It does look like it's at capacity. It looks like it's about a 30 gig SD card, and about 28.2 gigabytes currently is downloaded onto the SD card.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions from the board on this matter? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Item number 7 will be filed without a hearing as the licensee has since transferred. And those are all of the items before the board this morning. The board is scheduled to vote this Thursday, February 27th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Notice has been posted to the city's website. That will adjourn this hearing. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.